Child, why they playing with me? Why is the system playing with me today? What's up, y'all? It's your girl, Irene, the motherfucking Fashion Queen, back at you with another episode of the Queendomme, where we talk about life, love, sex, and everything in between, with a heavy focus on BDSM and the BIPOC community. So welcome in today. We will be talking about polyamorous lifestyles. We do have a special guest coming. She will give us the nitty gritty. She is definitely active in the lifestyle. She even has something special for the lifestyle that she is introducing to the world. So I'm super excited to let her really get in to the topic with that. But until then, let's do a little bit of housekeeping, not housekeeping, but let me give you guys a little bit of information if you're not 100% familiar with what the poly lifestyle is, or polyamory is, it is a form of ethical, consensual non-monogamy where individuals have multiple romantic or sexual relationships with full knowledge and consent of all parties involved. Full knowledge and consent of all parties involved. I needed to make sure I said that louder for the people in the back because as someone who is out here in this dating realm, a lot of people like to dibble and dabble. Hey Kay, what up, sis? Like to dibble and dabble and not be, trustworthy, not be truthful with the information in which they give the party and or parties in which they are playing around with. Hence the reason you see so many crash out videos and stuff like that on social media because people be playing in other people's face. And I'm a proponent of please don't play in my face. I'd rather you tell me the truth up front and give me the option to deal with it or not. But let me read that again so y'all can really soak it in. Polyamory is a form of ethical, consensual non monogamy where individuals have multiple romantic or sexual relationships with the full knowledge and consent of all parties involved. Okay. I just needed to make sure I gave that, right? Okay. So a little bit more if I did not know that. So apparently polyamory derived from the Greek and Latin for many loves, describes the practice of having multiple romantic or sexual relationships simultaneously with the understanding and agreement of everyone involved. Now, based on my understanding, that does not mean each individual person involved in said situation is interacting romantically or sexually with every other person that's involved. There are many different types of polyamorous relationships that I don't want to say that because I'm not 100% sure about that statement. I'm gonna have to slow down because I'm trying to talk. I'm talking too fast. Um, let's see. So some of the relationship structures that can exist in a polyamorous relationship um, is a triad or a throuple. So it's a relationship involving three people who are all romantically involved with each other. A quad, a relationship involving four people who are all romantically involved with each other. A V, one person is romantically involved with two other people who are not necessarily in a relationship with each other. So full knowledge. Hello, amen. Amen to the full knowledge because it is very beneficial. Um, and then a polyfidelity. Now that one is definitely new to me. It says a polyfidelity is a group of partners who agree to only have romantic or sexual relationships within the group. So I guess it's like two couples that decide to date each other, but they don't date nobody else outside the two couples. Okay. Well, Taya, when we get up in here, we're gonna have to get some clarification on some of this stuff. For sure. That's why we always have to invite the professionals to the conversation so we can make sure we know what the hell is we're talking about, right? All right. Let's see. It says some of the challenges, because y'all know I like to do my own little bit of research before we pop up into the conversation. So some of the challenges and considerations that polyamorous relationships can present are communication. You need to be open and honest with your communication. It is crucial for navigating the complexities of multiple relationships, which I will 100% say, wow, I know for a fact the poly lifestyle is not for me. I am not when I feel like something is mine and is like, you know what I'm saying, like you supposed to be my man, and I'm 100% my man, my man, my man. I'm ready to bop a bitch if she think that she can call my man her man. So I don't have that much. I don't have that nicety in me to be able to share like that. I just I don't know if it's the youngest child syndrome. I don't know what it is. All I know is that's my fish. Don't touch my fish. You better go find you another fish in this sea. Right? I too same K. I 100% that, but that's the biggest part of what I can respect about poly relationships is the level of communication that you have to have and transparency that you have to have with your person. Um, girl, because listen, once I know you mine, I want it all the time. Listen, I already be wanting it all the time anyway, but then I know like this man, like mine, like child, gluttonous is the word probably for that for the way that I be wanting at that point. Right, sexually greedy, 100%. Because I like to be able to just roll over and touch it and have it and fondle it and things like I wanna be able to go to sleep with it in my hand and stuff. You know what I mean? Which I'm not saying that you can't do that in a poly relationship because once again, I'm not. I've never been in one. Don't plan on being in one. That is just not my thing. I respect it though because, like I said, the level of communication that they have to have, the level of transparency that they have to have, and live within is such an amazing thing because of what it entails to be able to navigate multiple relationships within a group, regardless of whether or not everybody is like participating with each other. Because I've even heard of some situations where, maybe there's a central person, and whether let's say it's a guy and he has two girlfriends or two boyfriends or whatever the case may be. It's a person with two partners, let's say it that way. That way we cover everybody. Exactly, my favorite fidget toy. But there's one person with two partners. The two partners may not interact with each other, but they may be friends. Um, you know what I'm saying? They'll because they know of each other, they know who each other is, and things of that nature. So, it's that level of transparency and honesty and communication that has to happen within the relationships that I 100% respect. And I feel like if we carry that level of transparency and communication, um, excuse me, in all our relationships, not just only when you're in a poly relationship, but even if you're monogamous or if you're ethical non-monogamy or if hell in your friendships. You know what I'm saying? Like to be that transparent and open with someone is a beautiful thing. And it leaves like no room for second guess and stuff. And if there are questions, it gives you the opportunity to open the door up and it gives you the opportunity to open the door up to the level of communication that needs to happen so that everybody can still be uh, open and clear to what is really going on. So that's been my thing. Hence the reason I think this is the second or third episode that we've done about poly relationships. Um, and every time the conversation comes around, I get asked, "Is do I think that's something I can participate in?" Especially because of how I operate as a single person. Like as a single person, I very well understand what it is that if we single, free to date multiple people, whatever the case may be, I'm not under a delusion that just because we talking to each other, you dropping all your little options or whatever the case may be. Which do it, hey, do what you do, just don't be disrespectful. You know what I mean? Because some motherfuckers like to try and get disrespectful and make it seem like they trying to show you how much better they can do than you, and then it turns into oh, you trying to be one of them. You wanna play around and see whether or not I can. Okay, now I got to show you who I really can be. So simmer down. Don't do too much. Not too much. Uh, but once we've had that communication that it's me and you and ain't nobody else. If I find out it's somebody else, it's gonna be some tables moving up in this motherfucker. I just like let's not go down that road. Especially Irene today. Don't play in my face like that. The worst thing you could do with me is play in my face. Because the moment I feel like you playing in my face, now I feel like you're insulting my intelligence. It turns into a whole situation that we just don't need to go down. Yeah, listen. Matter of fact, if y'all want to hear a conversation around being delusional or trying or making sure that we're not delusional, make sure you check in on Thursday nights with Irene K Unscripted. One thing we gonna tell you is what we don't do is be delusional. I can't afford that. Can't do it. But so let's see. Another thing that they talk about are the boundaries that have to be established. So establishing clear boundaries and expectations is important for maintaining healthy relationships, which is a basic common decency. Let's be 100% honest about the situation. You know what I'm saying? Hey, honey. Appreciate it. Thank you for coming in. So we just going over some basic information about poly relationships. Once again, let me also reiterate for anybody who is just not coming into the room. I personally am not poly. I have a few friends that are poly. I've even seen poly relationships done horribly. I've definitely seen people disguise what they wanted to call a poly relationship. Um, And really, what it was is the dude wanted to cheat, and the chick instead of just leaving him and letting him run the streets like he wants to, she didn't want to let him go, but she knew he was still gonna cheat, so they agreed to be poly. I don't think that's technically a poly relationship because what it sounds like is you just decided to allow him to cheat in your face instead of behind your back. It does not sound like y'all set that relationship on a positive foundation. All right. Now we're gonna bring my beautiful, beautiful friend up. Who she can definitely give y'all a lot better details about it, about the lifestyle in itself. Not I'll probably never do. Shut up, Jesus. Oh my God, y'all gonna kill me tonight. I see it coming already. So introducing it to those who do not know, which at this point in your life, how do you not know who Naomi is? I don't know, especially if you've been following me because I absolutely love her. Uh, Welcome to the stage, Naomi.
Hey girl, hey. Sorry I am late. I had to reset up my whole everything. my,
Listen,
my lights, my camera, because everything was packed up to go to the gym and record some content. So thank you for
oh,
being patient.
of course, of course. Listen, at least you made it to the gym is the most important part. We working on it. We working on getting there. Okay.
Okay, friend. Listen, I'm about to be officially certified as a personal trainer. So if you need some personal motivation, I'm just saying.
What are you not doing?
Well, like I created the cowgirl workout over 10 years
True.
ago, and I've been doing it for 10 years. And I have a background in fitness and yoga and dance, but in where I want to take the cowgirl workout, I need them letters behind my name. So I got to get the official certification so that I can move my program out into the world the way I need it to, you know? So,
Well,
I'm a multi hyphenate in the intimacy space. You know what I'm saying? Like we are not
listen.
limiting ourselves out here. Okay.
Let me tell y'all something. Okay, before we get back into this conversation, this is why I love having so many amazing black women around me. Because come on now. Ah, I love it. I love it. Yes. Okay. So I was giving them some brief information about, poly relationships. And I'm gonna give you the definition that I read off to them. It says it's a form of ethical, consensual non-monogamy where individuals have multiple romantic or sexual relationships with the knowledge and consent of all parties involved.
So you know what's interesting? Because I was doing some research,
Hmm.
and when the term polyamory was first introduced to society, I think it was in the 70s, and the person who created the term, they never intended for polyamorous relationships to include multiple sex partners.
Mm.
So over time, the definition has expanded. And the reason why I say that is because I want everybody to understand that just like sexuality, romantic dynamics are also fluid. And a lot of these terms and the things that we know today have shifted and have changed over time. And so, polyamory is actually under the umbrella of E&M, or ethical non-monogamy, because under ethical non-monogamy you also have multiple sex partners, you have open relationships, you have swinging. Multiple sex partners, open relationships, and swinging are primarily focused on sex,
Hmm.
which there is nothing wrong with that. I want to put that out there right now, because for some reason people like to demonize individuals who enter into consensual relationships with people that are just sexually based, and that sucks. Like, I don't
It does.
understand why people want to give us so much flack for choosing to have multiple sex partners and prioritize our pleasure. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. If you are an adult, if you are consenting and you're taking care of yourself and your health, then there's nothing wrong with it. But I think, religious programming and also all of the like horror stories that people hear around multiple sex partners, like when people are contracting STIs or when things are done non-consensually. And that's the
Hmm.
funny part to me, right? People always want to throw salt on like polyamorous people or ethically non-monogamous people, but you got a homeboy or a homegirl or a person who you love and favor
Hmm.
that has a side person. You know that. Matter of fact, one of your uncles had all kind of side pieces. Your auntie, matter of fact, me and Mrs. Jones got a thing going on.
Girl,
So
I
why?
know.
So,
Let
matter
me
of
tell you
fact,
something.
whole families, Irene, whole families were raised by Mr. Joe, who was their
Hmm.
mama friend, that everybody knew when the lights was getting cut off, Mr. Joe would show up and Mr.
Hmm.
Joe would go see mama, and y'all would have to mind y'all business and y'all lights would stay on. And
Right.
everybody knew Mr. Joe had a family across town. And that's why nobody talked about it out loud, because they knew it was a dynamic that was interesting, right?
Hmm.
But it was a non-consensual thing. But the interesting thing about it is that even though it was non-consensual, the other person knew that their husband, wife, whatever, had somebody. And specifically around women with men who had somebody that was extramarital, they accepted it because they were like, oh, men will be men. And also during that
Hmm.
time, women had less rights and less
Exactly.
privileges as we do now, right? So it was something that was just accepted. But there's still women who are literally doing the same thing even now. So it's funny to me, right? That grandma, they will find out at the funeral that there was somebody
Hmm.
extra. I mean, we've seen this.
So
So
many times.
it really blows my mind when people like myself come online, we talk about our open lifestyles and how consensual it is, and we get flack. But y'all not giving that same flack to y'all friends that's out here with the side piece. As a matter of fact, some of y'all are their alibi. You lying for them. You covering up their tracks because you want to be a part of the mess. And some people are more drawn to the drama and
Yes.
the taboo and the risque of it all because it's exciting. But when you say polyamory involves you having concern for people's emotional state, polyamory requires transparent and consistent communication, and polyamory requires consent. Now it's, oh, I could never. Y'all fucking lying.
Right. You already doing it behind closed doors, but the thing is, y'all like to sneak in and you feel like you being a player and all this other kind of stuff where you could have so much more ease in life. Because one of the things I said, y'all out here playing with people and y'all wonder why so many videos of folk crashing out on social media when if you were just transparent and honest and communicated with the people involved and gave people the option of whether or not they wanted to deal with the situation, life would be so much better. Life would be
It
so much
would.
easier.
And that's the thing. The reason why people fucking crash out is because you stole their autonomy.
Hmm.
You took their right to choose a way, and then you also put them in harm's way because they don't know who this person is. They don't know their health status. They
Hmm.
don't know who else that person is having sex with because we all have a sexual network. As soon as you open up your body to one person, you've opened up your body to everyone they're having sex with. So if that person doesn't have like healthy sex practices, meaning they're not checking up on their status, they're not using condoms consistently and correctly, because let's be clear, that's a thing,
True.
then you putting yourself at risk for whatever that person may contract through their network. And you think like it's common sense, but it's really not, especially when in our community, specifically the Black community in America, like there is still so much repression, so much judgment. And it's unfortunate, but it's like, okay, y'all got so much judgment for people who are living consensually, but y'all, again, are not choosing to call people out for their poor behaviors. You want to enable it for entertainment.
Hmm.
It's crazy.
Yep. And just like Flightless said, I trusted you and to be transparent and you hid the truth. And I was making a statement like as a relationship, like actually committing to somebody, I know for me, monogamy is the way to go. Now when I'm single, hey, just I'm very much don't lie to me. I'm not stupid. Like, come on now.
Right.
Because if I like you, I know somebody else like you too. You know what I mean? So
It's
you
always
ain't got
somebody in the wings, off stage, right?
right.
Waiting to enter into main stage. And you got to assume that.
Exactly. So what's the point of lying to me? And that's why when people get in their feelings, like, am I the only one you talking to? No. What made you think you were?
First of all, it's safe to assume that if you are single, that you and that other person have multiple options, because like monogamous people, they're going to entertain multiple people until it's time to settle down with one. Eating
Hmm.
multiple asses ain't never been up
Hey,
there,
I think
doctor.
up to their doctor since '83 is crazy. Like they ain't been to the doctor since
Oh yes,
1983.
but it's
But you out
true.
here
It's true.
all the time.
It's so crazy, like just the intersectionality of issues that Black people deal with, because number one, we understand why Black people don't want to go to the doctor. There is medical bias against us.
Hmm.
So there's fear around being mislabeled, mistreated, misdiagnosed, or completely dismissed.
Yeah.
And then there are some people living in places where they don't have access to affordable and comprehensive care.
Yeah.
So we're not going to, just sweep that under the rug. And also, if you are a sexually active person and you have multiple sex partners within your network, you have a responsibility of taking care of yourself, which also protects your network. And
Hmm.
it's interesting how people don't think they can get something from eating ass, or they can't get something from oral sex generally, whether it's ass eating, pussy eating, or swallowing dick. Like you can, you can. I mean, if anything, with ass eating E. coli, like
Right now you walk around with pink eye and everything else. Like, come on now.
you know what I'm saying? It's really crazy. And so, um, but polyamory doesn't have to be this like big scary thing, because It's not. But I will say that polyamory is not for everybody.
Right.
Because it does require a level of consciousness and emotional intelligence, awareness, and responsibility that people are just not ready for. Like,
Mm-mm.
I have a friend who I'm getting to know. Like, I've had a little crush on him for a while. And when I first met him, he was like, "Yeah, me and my wife, we identify as ethically non-monogamous because polyamory is a lot. I don't think it's for us." And then I was talking to him yesterday, and he had a moment where his wife had went out of the country, and she was going to spend time with like a childhood friend, like someone she's known
Mm-hmm.
like her whole life. And she had like a traumatic experience that he wasn't there to, he wasn't there to like be able to comfort her, but her friend was. And in that
Mm-hmm.
moment, her husband, he was like, my friend, he was truly grateful that that person could be there. And he was like, "Ah, it clicked for him." He was like, "Oh, this is polyamory and this is compersion." Compersion means feeling joy, seeing your partner happy with other partners. And
Mm-hmm.
getting to the place of compersion is a journey. You understand?
I can imagine because right now my head is like, nah, I ain't there yet. I ain't in that space. I can
And
tell
you
you
know
that
what,
right now.
Irene, let me tell you something. It is okay if you never get there. Because the thing is, okay, so let's put it in this perspective. You have compersion when it comes to platonic relationships and familial relationships
Mm-hmm.
with your person.
Mm-hmm.
But other romantic relationships, it's a no-go because you only
Nah.
want that person to be engaged with you romantically and emotionally. Because I know some people consider like emotional cheating,
Mm-hmm.
which I have my ideas around that. That is an interesting concept. But, to each their own. Everybody's going to have their agreements and what they feel is cheating and is not cheating. And I think that needs to be explicitly expressed because there's
Mm-hmm.
too much assuming happening. And so then a person is being villainized for doing something that they didn't even know was off the table.
Right.
So one thing that monogamous people can learn from polyamorous people is the level of transparent communication.
Yes. Literally what I was saying earlier. I said my favorite thing that I've learned, especially having, because I have several friends who are poly, and the thing that I love the most is the level of transparency, which is another reason why I think I've been able to do single life a lot different for me this time.
Hmm.
Um, and because I now when I'm single, I've always had my options open and kept at least a basketball team on the floor.
A
You feel
rock
me?
star, you're starting five. You understand me?
You know what I'm saying? I always had a starting five. When your girl is single, she typically got a starting five. She ain't got a starting five now because my patience is short. I'm about to be 40, bitch. Leave me alone. I ain't
Child,
gonna
listen. I swear, I'm on the same type of time.
like, don't play with me.
The
I
same
ain't got
type of
time.
time. My patience is so thin, like it's hair thin at this point.
Child. Okay. So, but the biggest thing that I learned is the level of transparency because, like, I was always like, no, I'm not just dating you, but I'm a lot more definitive in my transparency. Like, I don't leave no room for confusion at this point. You know what I'm saying? Like, you ain't got to know exactly who I'm talking to,
Period.
but I'm
Just know
like,
they there.
right, they there. They doing what they supposed to be doing, or you not doing what you supposed to be doing. Whatever the case may be, you know what I'm saying. I'm way more transparent in my communication of what's going on. And if you ask me a question, I tell them, "Hey, you sure you want the answer to this now?"
Exactly. And that's
Because
great that you do that.
sometimes that's not what you really want to know. You don't want to know that. Because all that's gonna do is hurt your feelings and leave you stressed out. Like this, you just want to know whether or not this person got a leg up on you. That's what you're trying to figure out.
And
You
also, why
don't
do
want
you
to know the
care?
full details. Listen, let me
Why
tell
do you
you.
care so much?
Let me tell you about this last situation with somebody else. So when people ask me if I'm single, I always say I'm single, but I got a favorite. That means I got somebody that I spend a decent amount of quality time with, and I like spending time with this person. That person's single, I'm single. We still free to mingle wherever we want to mingle and do whatever we do. And we're very honest and transparent with each other about it, right? So I
Right.
told somebody, this person swore up and down I was supposed to be their wife, right? Um, so me and this person have a conversation, baby. When I say this motherfucker played 21 questions with me about the other nigga, and I'm like, Are you trying to date me or you want to date him? What is going
Right.
on?
Because in
Like,
their mind, it's a competition and they're trying to figure out what did this person have that they are in the position of your life as being your favorite. And I always tell people who come into my polycule who start to play that whole game of, oh, well, you got a lot of people in your life, so I'm just going to fall back. I'm like, if you fall back too far, you're going to be out the game and you're going to put yourself on ice. Don't worry
mm-hmm,
about everybody else in my life and what they have going on. Worry about the position that you are playing because you're here
exactly.
for a very specific reason and you are in a specific category. And if you're here, it's because you're providing me with something that no one else can provide to me. So play your role accordingly. Don't worry about everybody else because you're not going to get details. And I've had partners who have been straight up honest with me and said, I cannot handle that level of transparency. All I want to know is that you got other people in your life. And I'm like, okay, thank you for being honest.
Right.
Because like I'm only going to share as much as you can handle. And I learned that early on, like in starting to date, especially down here in Atlanta, like I come out and I tell everybody that I'm polyamorous and I'm pansexual and I'm a biromantic, meaning I like to date, like be in romantic partnerships with men and women. But sexually, I'm open to all genders, no matter their identification. So that's what that means to be pansexual, biromantic,
Mm.
right? So then they'd be like, what the fuck is all these titles? What do they mean? You know? And it's funny because men don't give a damn about the women in my life. They care about the other penises.
Mm-hmm.
And I have one person in my life who is my top shotta lover, top king ding ling. Nobody's topping him. Nobody. And
We love
also,
that.
we've almost been in a relationship for about 20 years.
Come on now.
So we've grown up with each other. I've seen his brothers and sisters grow up. I know his whole family. They know me. We've been on multiple vacations. Like we locked in for life for real, you know? Nobody can replace that. Nobody can do that because we have a long history together that's just unmatched. Does
Mm-hmm.
that mean I love him more than anybody else? No. That doesn't mean that. It just means that that's the place that he holds. And if anybody's coming in trying to be like, well, how do I get that spot? You got 10 inches of dick?
Oh, well,
Hmm? Do you?
speak up
Because
or forever hold your peace.
because if you don't have more than that and then know how to use it and know my body the way that he does, you can't be my top lover.
Right.
And it's more than just the sex with us, it's the deep bond and connection that we have. This
That
man
you all have built took
over
time.
time. I met him in 2006. This man knew me when I was a virgin and
Yeah, nah,
waited
that's
and
you.
waited for me.
Nah, y'all ain't gonna be able to.
You
Right, I'm sorry, you can't. That's a different. See that, and here's the thing about that, and I think this is one of the biggest things, regardless of how you identify relationship wise. I think this is one of the big things that a lot of people miss out on is the foundation of a friendship, which it sounds like that y'all had that foundation of a friendship, which is something that I honestly did not learn until my 30s about having a friendship before my relationship.
Mhm.
Because when you in a relationship with somebody and you realize you can't like there is no friendship there. So once the love is gone, it shit can turn evil real fast. Okay, so and child, I am free. I'm not in jail. Let's just say that. So
Period.
we are happy, and we had learned that we better have a friendship first. And we are in such what I like to call a microwave society because everybody wants
Man.
stuff. They want instant love. I don't know you well enough. I don't give a.
Hello.
I was on live on TikTok. And I need to stop saying this stuff online. But I'm at such an I don't care stage in my life. Like I'm gonna say what the fuck I want to say. Who gonna check me? Everybody, I keep getting these. Let me fly you here. Let me bring you here. Boy, y'all ain't gonna be happy till y'all fly somebody out and they rob your ass. I said, y'all gonna fuck around and have a nigga come out of me.
I mean, it's happened to guys before, but also like you are a stranger offering to fly me out. I don't know anything about you. You don't know anything about me. And that's weird. That's weird. You don't even want to
Very
have a
weird.
conversation first. Somebody asked why we're not together. We are together. We're friends with benefits. Me and this person are friends with benefits. And me and this person also talked about like having children together, or having a child because he already has somebody a child. But the last time I saw him, because we're LDR, long distance relationship. The last time I saw him, I was like, "Hey, if I look around, I don't find any qualified men to like start a family with. We having a baby." He was like, "Okay, babes. Yep, I already knew. Like we would come to
I
this,
love
so
that.
I'm cool with it. And that's the thing. I don't live a conventional lifestyle. So the
Right.
nuclear family concept really doesn't apply to me because like I got two girlfriends right now. My ideal dynamic is like, if I was to have a primary partner, not even primary, like an anchor partner, it'll be like an anchor male, my girlfriends, and my playmates. Um, but also all of that is very open and fluid for me
Hmm.
because I'm just like, I just want to be in love with the people who I love, enjoy my time, and they know what's up. Like
Right.
I identify as a solo poly person. So solo poly means that I prioritize my needs, my pleasure, what I want first. I don't live with any of my partners. None of my partners interact with each other. Like they don't have relationships with each other. Now, have my partners met each other? Yes. As a matter of fact, when I launched my matchmaking agency, the Polymatch Agency, which is an agency that services polyamorous people, I had a soft launch event in Atlanta, and several of my partners were in the same room at the same time. And everybody had different connections to me. So I had a bunch of friends, I had lovers, past lovers, my current girlfriends, current partner. Uh, and so everybody was kind of like, "Oh, how do you know Tayomi? How do you know Tayomi?" And one of my partners who I've been in a relationship with for like 4 years, somebody asked him, "Well, how do you know Tayomi?" And he was like, "Wait, wait a minute. I don't want to say that's Bay, but damn, me and Bay ain't even talked about this yet." And I was like, "Yeah, I said, I've been claiming you as my partner. You can claim me as your partner." And so it's interesting because we just been in relationship for the last 4 years, but we didn't have that like hard sit down conversation around um what our dynamic is, how we're claiming each other, what our relationship agreements are. Because he has an anchor partner who he nests with. Nest means to live with, right? And so they have their thing. But me and him, like we're emotionally bonded. It's not even a sexual relationship. Like we've known each other for almost 5 years, and like there has been no sex involved. And I have a few partners like that in my life where it's an emotional bond. It's not a sexual bond at all. And that's what I love
Mm.
about being polyamorous is like I get to have all these relationships and maintain them and develop them and also hold space for them and support them in their changes too. Because I have one that I've known for 10 plus years. We fell in love the first day we met. And he recently told me he has a girlfriend. And this is like the third girlfriend he's had in our 10-year span. And I'm like, great. But the reason why we're not together is because he knows I'm polyamorous and he wants me to himself. And I'm like, no, no.
Hmm.
But we can love each other in this space and you're free to go be with whoever you want to be with. And it's not going to change my love for you and vice versa. So it's it's an interesting dynamic, especially when you have to be there to support your partners through their relationship shit and their breakup.
Mm.
Like my top lover, it was interesting because we both got married around the same time to different people, and we both got divorced around the same time. And
Well,
so
damn.
we was holding space for each other doing the breakup. I was like, "Ooh, mood change."
Listen, child, this damn thing.
We love it though, you know.
It's doing what it want to do. We just gonna leave it just like that. Because if I start playing with it, it's gonna act stupid.
Right.
But it's fine.
But yeah, so look, I'm gonna show y'all my chart, right? And I'm gonna put up a post because the last time I made my chart, this shit went super viral for like 3 months.
I do remember when you posted that.
People, oh my god, people was upset. But I'm gonna post it again, and it looks a lot different
As you should.
this time. So this is the beauty of being polyamorous. It's like
Hmm.
I know who's coming in and out of my life, and it's changing all the time, right? So this time I added extensions off of each person for their partners or their
Hmm.
possibles. So this is what it looks like.
Oh, nice. Okay, so and that's you in the middle.
Me in the middle, solo polyamorous, bi romantic.
Okay.
Up here,
Hmm.
it's satellites. So people who come in and out of my life, like we might not talk for some years and then they come back and we pick up where we left off and then it's a back and forth thing. So this person up here, they
Hmm.
have a wife. Okay. These are my friends, people who I love dearly, and we flirt. There might be sexual attraction, romantic attraction, or whatever, but they're friends. And they could
Hmm.
move to friends with benefits. But you see, this person has somebody, this person has somebody, this person has two people, this person has possibles. I don't know who they're involved with. This
Hmm.
person has somebody. This person has somebody and some possibles. This
Hmm.
is my friends with benefits. These are my two oldest relationships. 20 years and 15 years.
Hmm.
And they both have partners. And these are my like committed partners. So uh my boyfriend essentially and my two girlfriends. And they all got people, right? And then what does that say? Oh, my lovers. This is just sex.
Hmm.
And these little offshoots are their possibles. I don't know who they are, but they're possibles. And then my kink and BDSM playmates. So these are so this person doesn't have anybody, but this person has a wife and she has a partner and he has two additional partners. And this his chart is more extensive than this, but I didn't want to like make it look crazy. So I just
Gotcha.
put the main folks.
Gotcha.
So this is what my chart looks like right now. And it will potentially look different in the coming months.
And I like that. I like the fact one is because you have, like you said, you have the knowledge of the people that you are directly dealing with, and also the fact that they also have partners or possibilities, and there's that level of open communication that you all have centered around one, just being truthful with each other, two, because you care about each other and you're being open. Because, like you said, when you're dealing with multiple people, there is a level of responsibility that you have of care, not only for yourself, but for the people that you are also involved with.
And I'm gonna tell
So,
you, sometimes you don't like your partner's partners, or they might not like you.
well, listen.
One of my partners, okay, me and his partner, me and her talked on the phone. It was a nice little kiki. And he was like, "Oh, I like this. We all getting along." I was like, "Yeah." And then came the time for them. Like they were gonna come down to support me for an event that I was doing.
Mhm.
Now, I talked to him and I told him in advance. I said, "Okay, babe, listen. I know that we had a great conversation on the phone, but meeting me in person is different." Okay? I'm like, "Meeting me in person is different." He was like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "Sometimes people go a little crazy or they get intimidated seeing me in person because they feel my energy. I take up space. I have a commanding presence. When I wear heels, I'm like 6'1", 6'2", depending on the size of the heel.
You
You
know what I'm
know,
saying?
it's striking. It's not a filter. This is my face.
Hello, in that part.
So
And
he was like,
the body be bodying, if y'all
body,
didn't know.
bodying, and it's only improving because I'm in the gym. You know what I'm saying? So he was like, He was like, "All right, nah, it's gonna be good." Da da da. I was like,
Okay.
Okay, all right. Huh. Get to the spot. You know, it's a club like atmosphere. He comes and get me from the front. We go to the back and have a few drinks and kiss up on each other and rub up on each other and stuff. And he's like, "All right, I'm gonna take you to go meet her." Cool. Takes my hand, guides me through the club. It's a lot of people. We get to the other side. All of a sudden, he gets shoved, and I'm like, "What the fuck? Who's shoving?" And then he gets shoved again, and I look, and I'm like, "Who is that lady?" All I know is that he is dragging me out the club, and I didn't even question it. Okay. And we get out the door, and this lady runs up behind him, cursing him out. And he like, "Come on, babe, come on, let's go to your car." And I'm like, "What the fuck?" And she is just cursing him out. Really? Really? And then it clicked. I said, "Oh, that's his bitch." So we get to the car, and he starts like profusely apologizing. And I just looked at him and I said, "I told you." So once like I left, things had like he got things under control. 45 minutes to an hour later, he calls me and he was like, "Man, you told me, and I've never seen her act like that, blah, blah, blah." Of course, she blamed it on the alcohol and hookah, blah, blah,
Sure.
blah. But see, what I've learned living this lifestyle is that women are okay if they're simply just swinging with their partner, if it's just sex.
Hmm.
But when they find out their partner has an emotional bond to somebody, they're like, "Oh, hell no." Now it's like an intimidation factor because they know the kind of emotional bond they have with their person.
Hmm.
And to think that someone else has that same type of bond and love, it sends them, it just sends them and they just go crazy. Which I'm sure you can relate to, Irene, because earlier you was like, "Nah."
Cause okay, so this is where I am, especially when it comes to emotional connections. Especially at this point in my life, I understand that there are certain connections that you I understand not wanting to put that fullness, that wholeness of looking for everything in one person, which
Hmm.
hence the reason why your friendships are so important. Some of those familiar relationships are super important, stuff like that. Probably one of the best things that I came out of my last relationship with, and just understanding it. Now, I also understand. I'm not one of the people that's like, oh, men and women can't be platonic friends and stuff like that. I do understand that, there can be a friendship there, and there can be benefits of having those friendships. I have a lot of male friends, and it always tickles me, you know, as being the homegirl, and the chick be like, "I don't like that child." I know, first off, I know too much about this motherfucker. You can
You
guarantee I'm not
know,
touching that nigga with a 10-foot pole.
period.
I know too much. So please don't stress about me. You know what I'm
Girl.
saying? So, but I understand, being able to have those relationships. Now, can there be a fine line? Uh, to some extent, yes, there can be a fine line, especially if you're talking about being in a monogamous relationship.
Yes.
But one of the things that I said before you came on was, I said a lot of women find themselves being convinced to be poly when they really not. What happened is he done cheated so much, or he wants this lifestyle so bad, and you just don't want to let him go and be true to yourself, that then you try to convince yourself that you cool with it too. And whether that involves you being intimate with the woman or not, you trick yourself into being like, oh, it's just a sexual thing. And I think a lot of times that's what happens, and they feel like, okay, as long as it's just sex, I'm okay. But the moment it steps into something more, they don't know how to handle that. And it's like,
Yeah.
sis, be honest with yourself. If that's not your vibe, that's not your vibe. And the reason why I can say with so much confidence that it's not mine is because I've had many of people try to convince me into it. Sir, I'm telling you right now, she ain't wrapped too tight. I'm not there yet. I don't know if I ever will be because I'm telling you, I'm possessive. I know I am. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? I know this about myself, and I'm okay with that. I have accepted who I am in life, and
Hmm.
I'm good. I just need somebody to be on the same type of time I'm on. Because when
Yeah.
I say that's my fish, you better go fishing in another lake, another pond, another part of the ocean. Don't come fishing over here by my fish. Because if you come fishing by my fish, I'm gonna remind you of why you don't need to fish by my fish. Now, if my fish start acting like they want to be picked by somebody else, then that's a different story. Then, baby, take him. If he want to act like he need to be picked by somebody else, child, that ain't my fish to begin with. Go on, take him. I ain't.
Right. And
I
you
ain't.
know, truly, no one's ever truly our fish. All fish gonna be able to be free to swim wherever they want to swim. But the beauty, I think, of monogamy is like people consciously choose that person day in and day out. So
Hmm.
and even in polyamory, it's the same thing, but there's freedom to do that with multiple people. But
Right.
there is a level of dedication that I admire in monogamy.
Hmm.
Because like I've seen my parents do it. My parents are married for almost 40 years, together for 43. And I asked my mom, I was like, what is it like being with somebody for like 4 decades? And she was like, it's interesting because you see them grow and it's good stuff and it's bad stuff. But you wake up and you choose that person every day and you choose to go through life with them. And so it's an interesting ride, you
Right.
know? Um, And circling back to women who let their men convince them to get into this lifestyle, they're practicing polyfuckery
That part.
because what they haven't done is the actual work to rectify the infidelity, and they use
Hmm.
polyamory as an excuse. They're like, oh well, there's actually a lifestyle that supports me wanting multiple sex partners, and we should just do this because like it's just how I am. No, first of all, you need to atone for the bullshit that you did. You
Hmm.
can't just spring the fact that you have been disloyal in your dynamic and then spring this lifestyle on her that the base of this is consent.
Right.
She didn't consent to you going out and being with somebody else. And in my opinion, it's a form of gaslighting and manipulation when men
100%.
do that. And they're not trying to be transparent in their communication.
Hmm.
They don't care about their partner's emotional well-being. And they honestly did not get full consent. It's, well, if you want to be with me, this the lifestyle we gonna live.
Yeah, it's that level of
That's not
manipulation
consent.
with.
That's not consent. Like I was having a conversation with one of my homies, and he was like, and I love him because he owns his shit. Like he's in
Hmm.
his 40s and he realizes like how patriarchy and the programming from patriarchy has impacted his mind and his behaviors. And so he's in the process of undoing a lot of that shit and holding himself accountable consistently. And he was like, like men, we got to understand that it's not enough to just make a statement. We got to get consent. So to make a statement and say, oh, I have a roster, and if you date me, you're going to be one on the team, that's not getting her consent. You got to take it a step further and ask the question of her, turn it over to her. How do you feel about that?
Right.
So that she has a chance to voice her opinion and really tell you how she feels. And if she is not an enthusiastic yes about being on your roster, that then she doesn't consent to that.
Hmm.
Because, like, saying, are you cool with that, is trying to sway her decision. Because most women, if they like you, if they want to be with you, they gonna put up with whatever comes along with you, hoping that you will change.
We'll lie to ourselves.
We'll lie to ourselves just to have a piece of a nigga.
Hmm.
And that's a self-esteem thing, because if you can't speak up for yourself and say, oh no, I'm not cool with that, and walk away from it, it's like, then what is it that you believe about yourself that you think it's okay to be in a dynamic like this that doesn't even match up with what you want for yourself romantically?
Right.
Why do you feel you need to accept this? Because listen, there's billions of people on the face of the earth, and some people have a more narrow pool to pull from because they are so specific in what they're looking for. Like, oh, they got to be African American, they got to be this height, they got to make this much money, they got to la 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 la, and just
All the
small,
things.
small, 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 right?
Right.
So they end up essentially having to share somebody, even if they know it or not. And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
if you expand it a little bit into other pools, then maybe you wouldn't have to share. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But they're like, shouts out to the men that are actually doing the work, who come into this lifestyle. But what I understand is that the community is small, and there's a lot of people who are living their lives in this way, but they're discreet.
Mm-hmm.
They're not like a part of the community at large. And the community is kind of disjointed. So like what I hear a lot in like having conversations with people who are exploring polyamory or who are just jumping into it, they are looking for a community and they can't find it where they live. They're like, where are the poly events? Where are the poly meetups? Where do I meet poly people? And then like if they try to go on the Facebook groups, you know how them damn groups be messy.
Child, I wouldn't play around with shit on Facebook. Let me tell you that. I don't.
I do not. I don't fuck with it. I don't really. I mean, I have to join these groups so that I can recruit people for my agency,
Mm-hmm.
from my singles database. But as far as interacting, I don't really fuck with it because I'm just like, y'all not
Yeah.
in here really doing the work. Y'all not really in here like uplifting each other and creating real community. Y'all in here
Uh,
gossiping,
because I feel
the
like
meat
what has
market.
happened. I feel like what has happened over the past. I'll give you 5 years. I'll give you since the pandemic because I feel like a lot of things became or came to the forefront and started to become a little less taboo because y'all ain't had nowhere else to go. Y'all ain't had shit else to do. Everybody was on social media. Everybody was starting to put all their business out because you were dying for connection because you were in the house all the time, right? So I feel like a lot of people caught on to the trend. They are, the trend of BDSM, kink, poly, all these different categories, and they never went into the real definition, the real meat and potatoes of what these different things are and what the foundation. I don't know why I keep doing it. It just sounded cute to them. It sounded cute. It
Right.
looked fun. It sounded like, oh, that's something that I want to try, or whatever the case may be, which is fine. If you want to try it, if you want more information, cool. But playing around is something that you do not take seriously, that you don't have respect for, and that you genuinely don't want to do the work to learn how to do properly, it's crazy work. It's just it's
It's
dangerous.
crazy. It's
It's dangerous.
crazy work. Like, if anybody is interested in the lifestyle, this book is amazing. The Poly Workbook. And it's inexpensive on Amazon. I think I got this for under $12.
I'll
But
make
this,
sure to link it in the bio,
yes,
in the description.
the Poly Workbook. And it's by Sarah Youngblood Gregory.
Hmm.
And it basically walks you through like um well, it's an interactive guide to setting boundaries, communicating your needs, and building secure, healthy, open relationships. So it'll take you through different prompts that you have to write out. It'll also give you definitions of the different uh, the different terminology that comes along with living this lifestyle. Because I remember like I was living the lifestyle without the terminology for a long time. And then I got a coach because I didn't even know I was polyamorous. I just thought I was living an open like lifestyle or whatever. And I got a coach in 2016 and she broke it all down for me. And I was like, oh. And then from there, I started doing the research and started like adopting the language The reason why the language is important is because when you do engage in the community at large, especially with
Mm-hmm.
seasoned polyamorists, they're going to throw out these acronyms, they're going to throw out these terms, and they're going to ask you questions because seasoned folks don't really necessarily want to date individuals who are newbies because it's a lot of hand holding, it's a lot of education.
Mm-hmm.
And so, if you are going to be a newbie, it is best to learn the terminology because if you do want to be in community, they're going to be using the terms in conversation. And you don't want to be lost. Like, I remember in the beginning, I'll be sitting in conversations, somebody will say something, I'll be right on my damn phone looking up the definition, like, what the fuck is that? What's NRE? What's NRE? New relationship energy. I'm
Mm.
like, what? Uh, couples privilege. What's that? I would just be sitting there Googling this stuff because I mean, I'm a nerd anyway, but I also did not want to feel like I was on the outside of the conversation. Because some of these terms help you to understand what's going on in your dynamic, right?
Right.
So, like NRE, new relationship energy. It's the new energy that comes in when your partner meets a new partner. And you know how it is, period. When you meet somebody new, it's exciting, they're fresh, and you in the honeymoon phase and the sauce of things. And so that new relationship energy can sometimes have an impact on a partner where you have old relationship energy with in a bond because your time might be spent more often with this new person because you're building this bond.
Mm-hmm.
And they're excited, but you might not be excited because you're like, here we go again, a new person, I got to adjust. Like,
Mm-hmm.
because trust me, people living this lifestyle are not always sunshine and rainbows about their person meeting somebody else, especially if they just came out of a relationship and it was a bad breakup and now they all in love with somebody new. It's like, nigga, sit your ass down for a second. God damn. Like, let that process, but that's not your place.
Right.
It's not your place to tell your partner what to do, but you can have a conversation with your partner about your concerns for their well-being.
Mm-hmm.
And that might be your partner's process. Go out and find somebody new, be in that new relationship energy, and it helps them work things out. So it's like so choosing to live this lifestyle means supporting your partner through whatever their process looks like. But NRE, because sometimes feel threatening to someone who is a more established partner. And then, jealousy might creep in because your partner is spending more time with this new person, or that
Mm.
new person might have something that you don't. And they relate in a way that y'all just don't. Like maybe your partner's really into sci-fi and that's not your thing, and they meet a person who geeks out on sci-fi and they just have these long conversations. And so you feel on the outside because you're like, I can't even relate to what the fuck they talking about. They talking about some Star
But
Trek shit, and I don't know what galaxy they in. I'm not even in that. And so it's
right.
natural for jealousy to creep in because it's just something that you cannot relate to. And you're seeing the joy that your partner is experiencing with this other person. And you're like, I'm not a part of that. I'm not causing that. And I can never make them feel like that because I don't share that same interest.
Mm-hmm.
So then it's like, how do you navigate that? With clear and transparent communication
Right.
and having the hard conversations around hard feelings. Like, it is what it is. There's a lot of talking. There's a lot of talking
Right.
in polyamory, for real, for real. and
Listen, but if there was more talking in general, I think we'd have a lot less crash outs.
we would have a lot less crash outs. Like I've been seeing so many posts pop up lately of
Mm-hmm.
people who have found out their partner was cheating on them with somebody they did not expect at all. Um, I'm seeing like the gay wars now. It's really weird where like men who are bisexual or down low or just straight out gay are like at odds with straight women on some. That's why I took your man. I'm like, ooh, that's nasty.
Like, why? Why? Okay. Me personally. if you are proud of breaking up a relationship, I don't care how you identify. Come on, that's nasty work.
It's so
Like,
nasty. Like, yeah, I'm just like, hey, person, however you identify, go off. Like, if
listen,
you
because
want to feel like you got a trophy by stealing somebody, first of all, I don't own anybody. You can't steal nobody from me. So if that person willingly chose to go be with you and end things with me, it was their conscious choice. You didn't steal anything
right.
from me. So go off, you know. Um, but again, some people just get off on that. It's an ego trip thing.
Yeah, it's the drama, it's the I don't know, the craziness of it all. Because some people live for that type of mess in their life. Like they literally are bored if they don't have some type of mess going on, baby. I'd be like, y'all. I know y'all think my life boring because I be over here minding my business, twiddling my thumbs in my own peace. I don't have time for it, mainly because what people don't know about me is I have a very bad temper, and it can go from zero to jail time real fast for me. So
Zero jail
Irene.
time is crazy.
I stay out the way. I know this about myself. I stay out the way because I don't have time for you to pluck the wrong nerve and then go left.
Hmm.
Because I had to catch myself in the grocery store, and I called my mom. I said, "This is why I order my groceries for pickup. I get them delivered because clearly I was 2 seconds from risking it all because I said, excuse me, and this white man told me I better go around, and it was about the child, and this older white man had to move out the way so I could get around. It was about to be so bad. I said, God say, God,
You
this is
know, that's when they would have got shoulder checked like a linebacker because you gonna tell me I better go around. Oh, well, I'm gonna go through you then, since you invisible.
because listen, child, and it
Cause
was
we
it
too
was
we
about to
too
be
big out here. Listen, those of us black women in larger bodies, okay, you're not gonna
child.
act like you don't see me, and you're not gonna act like I'm not taking up space. And if you do want to act like that, I'm gonna act like you're not there, and I'm just going to, because I play chicken. I play chicken on the street because
Listen,
I'm not hopping out of the way or moving out of the way for a white person when my father had to do that in the Jim Crow South growing up. I'm not doing that because we're not
right.
living in them times. So if you want to get shoulder checked, I'm gonna check you, you know, and it is what it is. And if you smaller than me and you get rocked, you chose that.
That's the life you chose. I can't do
You
nothing about
you chose that. I mean, that's my personal protest. I'm taking up space. Me and my dog, we taking up space. And you can either go around or you can wait till we pass. But I'm not giving you that.
it,
No,
child. Because the
no.
way, child, it was about to be real bad up in Publix. I'm gonna tell you that. It was about to be. I said the Lord saved that man. The Lord saved it because I felt it. I felt it in my throat. I was like, "Ooh, I ain't felt that in a long time. That's dangerous, Irene." That
Hmm.
was the version of me that my mother used to tell people, "Hey, let's not piss her off, please and thank you, okay?"
Hmm.
Because
Oh.
that stop button is almost non-existent sometimes. So let's just not do that. Um, and then I told my mom, I said, "This is why. This is why,
It's a
right here."
meme. It's a meme. It's a Ike Turner meme. And it's like a red background. And he's sitting there like rubbing his chest. And it's a Curtis Mayfield song in the background. And it was like me thinking about all the times I let shit pass that old me wouldn't have let God pass, right? And I play that meme practically daily because I
Because
am delivered. Okay, I am delivered.
I told
Like
my mama, I was like, "You'd have been so proud of me because." She said, and you kept. I said, "I know, right?" Because you talking about somebody who grew up in the Mississippi Delta.
oh Lord.
Child, right. The heat of it all.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Warranted. Warranted.
I'm very proud of
Warranted.
myself because I was like, "Ooh, that almost went left real fast." I said, "I said, let me get the rest of my stuff and get about this stuff before I, because if I run into this man again, I can't promise."
I love that you know yourself though, and people just be lying to themselves. Just
Mm.
because like polyamory has become a popular hot topic, it's a hot topic and it's going to get even hotter. You're going to see more content, more articles, more show segments. You're gonna hear it about it, and you're gonna see
Hmm.
more often. Like AJ Johnson was just on Breakfast Club talking about her form of open relating. I'm not going to call it polyamory, but her form of
Oh
open,
yeah.
because she didn't even have a language to like she didn't have the language to navigate that conversation. That's what I'm saying. Like if you know the vocabulary, and this is the thing. It's like if you are going to go on a public platform or you're going to talk about polyamory or open relating, having the language matters because the community at large, like the population at large, who's mostly monogamous, they're already confused and don't understand the difference between polyamory and polygamy, right?
Right.
And swinging. And so when you don't have the language to navigate the conversation, you just add more confusion. You know,
Right.
I mean, shouts out to her for like being bold enough to talk about what her dynamic looks like at this point in time in her life. Um, but there's also this idea for some that they have to jump on the bandwagon because it's available. And I say this all the time in my practice as a coach. Just because it's available doesn't mean it's for you.
Exactly. But it's a hot topic. Everybody are getting the likes and the views and the child. Y'all do anything for clicks and views and all this other craziness. Jesus be offense.
Be offense, because this is not something to just play around with. Like
Right.
some people are being ostracized by their families and their
Hmm.
peer group. Some people are losing jobs. Like it's a real thing when people decide to come out living an alternative lifestyle. It impacts everything around them.
It
And
does.
so for people to sit up here and play games with the relationship dynamic that we choose, I'm like, that's not right. It's not
Hmm.
right. And I remember like when my chart went viral last year, I was getting called everything but a child of God. And what was funny was the discussions happening in polyamorous groups online. People who were mostly men who were upset that I identify as solo poly and I have all these connections. And I'm like, so you're upset that I, a Black woman, am navigating polyamory consensually and in a healthy way. And I have all these dynamics that you see, but don't understand what they are and how they are. Because I had people saying, "Hey, well, you must have more hours in the day than the rest of us because you are managing all these relationships at one time." Ho ho ho, head ass. Listen, no, no, y'all don't. Y'all don't even understand the dynamic. I'm not talking to all these people every day. Most of them are long distance. Like on this chart, there's literally only three people of all these people that live in Atlanta, Georgia, where I currently live. The rest of them are LDR, long distance relationships. And again,
Child.
they also have partners.
Right. So it's not like you got to cater to them 24/7.
No, I don't.
Hmm.
I don't. I play my role in their life the same way they play the role in my life. You know,
But
I
a lot of that's the thing. A lot of people don't have the mental capacity to understand
no,
that,
they don't.
because it because it's so outside of what they know. You know what I'm saying? And then I think a lot of people have a hard time with a woman, especially a Black woman, owning the fact that I can hold space for all these connections, because one of the other things that I've also seen a surgeon of, and then we'll start to wrap it up, because I know you probably don't want to respond to this.
No, Lord.
Is, oh Lord Jesus, is the young lady that I went to school with, and I remember the first time she posted something about this on social media. I was like, girl, what the fuck you got going on? But it's the whole idea behind a man can have multiple wives, but the woman can't have multiple husbands or multiple partners. See that face? That's why I know I knew you, that face. Child, it was
Oh,
a
she
whole
gonna pick me.
listen. And here's what child, so she's married. She was married at the time she made the post. And I think this was her way of introducing the fact that her and her husband wanted to have I guess a poly lifestyle or whatever the case may be. But of course they were using Old Testament to
Oh,
uh
brother.
yeah, to justify only him being the one able to have multiple partners. And the only statement I made is because of the video she posted. In the video, it was this guy, and he was very much, "I'm the man, I'm the king," da 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 da. And all I said was, based on my understanding, a real man don't have to beat his chest to say he a man.
Right. Right. And
Mhm,
listen, the Bible, because people would like to refer to the Bible. The Bible is patriarchal in its presentation.
mhm.
You can see it throughout. Okay. And y'all talking about kings and rulers of nations.
Not Jerome
You're
from down
talking
the street.
about, right. You're talking about tribal living, where it made sense for the leader or the leader or the king or whoever of that tribe to have multiple wives because he had the means to care for them. If you are a Muslim man, okay, I get it, because in Islam, that's what they believe, that a man can have multiple wives. I'm not
Mhm,
going to sit here and tell you that Allah is wrong for telling you that, but clearly they're not Muslim.
mhm,
But polyandry, which is a woman having multiple husbands,
mhm.
is a thing. Is a thing. And Kenya from Progressive Love Academy, she has multiple husbands and a show on TLC.
Come on,
Okay.
TLC.
So, it's like, and she's black, so, right. It's interesting because I just think that's pick me behavior. And it
Child.
placates to patriarchal, it placates to patriarchal uh ideals, and it upholds patriarchy. And it's like, okay, girl, whatever you got to do to save your marriage, to keep your marriage intact, whatever you got to say to keep that man happy, because that's what it sounds like. And also, like, if you don't want to have multiple partners, that's fine, but you're going to be in a mono poly situation where now you have to deal with your husband holding space for you, the wife, the other wife, and whoever else he has coming along, because guess what? His energy now is not just all for you.
Right?
And if he gets into it with one of the other wives, you have to also deal with that. And
Mhm.
guess what? If he chooses to not have a hierarchy, meaning no one wife is above the other, how you going to deal with that? It's just funny to me how these ladies will get online and talk like they so proud and talk like they so strong and talk like they got it all together and talk like they have the emotional capacity to handle this stuff. And they don't. It's a front. Because the
Mhm.
ones that get up there and want to talk the loudest and beat their chest, they really miserable. And they're making a public declaration because they want to get ahead of being embarrassed. That's really what it is.
Right.
And I'm like, if you're not out here doing the work on yourself to make sure that you have the mental fortifications and emotional fortifications to deal with the shit that is going to come along with your man having multiple wives, not just sex partners, wives, meaning he's going to be splitting funds to take care of you and her, whatever children come along. And that be the thing too. I'm like, I don't think y'all really be about kingdom building, because y'all not even talking about kids in this and how it impacts children and how you
Mhm.
communicate this to kids. You so worried about this man, this man, this man, that you're not thinking about kingdom building for real. So it's just like, okay, please miss me with that. Like, the rage bait, clickbait shit is so irritating.
It is. Child, I got to the point I be like, I'm gonna keep scrolling because I'm about my business. I'm not getting into it with y'all because I already see where it's going, and I'm just,
No, I
I ain't
don't
got a dog.
argue.
I ain't got a dog in this fight. I'm gonna let it be. I'm gonna let it
I
be. That's what I'm gonna
stop.
do.
Let me say a hair fracture thin earlier.
Uh huh.
I have been at war with trolls since I started my career as a sexpert in 2011, right? I have not even hairline thin. I have no patience, zero for it. For anybody coming along trying to debase what I've said or debase any information I've put out there, I'd be like, you got it. You can't convince me that I'm wrong. And I'm not here to argue with you about what you believe.
Right.
And I'm going to keep doubling down on that. And eventually, you know what happens? They'd be like, oh, have a nice day. Right, head ass nigga. You just wanted attention. Like,
This is what. Listen, listen. Let me tell y'all something. Are we educated? Yes. Are we beautiful? Yes. But will we get hood on your ass? Yes. Stop
absolutely.
playing with us.
I'm from Chicago. I'm not finna play with y'all. Like, I don't like no goofy shit. I don't. I don't. I don't. I don't. I don't.
Oh,
I don't. I
I love
don't. I don't. I don't. I can't. I can't because I sit back and I listen to a lot of things and I let a lot of things fly. I do. And then it gets to the point where
you so much.
the quota of goofy shit that I just let fly is just too
Yeah.
much. And it'd be that one thing. And I'm like, all right, now I'm gonna have to roast you. Now I'm gonna have to
Right.
troll you back. Now you finna get another side of me. You're gonna be like, oh, she mean.
Call it what you want. I don't care.
I
I
don't
don't give a
care.
damn.
At this point, I have been pushed to my limit. And for balance in the universe, this other side has to show. And once
Y'all.
she's out and then I'm calm again, then it's like, okay. Because baby, I'm good with my words. Like we both some wordsmiths out here. So you talking
Listen.
about going back and forth. I can keep going. I can keep
Listen.
going. I can
Okay. Don't
keep
trip.
going.
Don't trip and fall because I'm gonna eat that ass up. You better leave me alone.
Listen, my parents would be like, stop that.
Same. My poor mother, Jesus, because my mother is she is a southern belle, and baby, I'm talking about conservative. This woman is retired and was worried about and don't even want to dye her. She wanted to dye her hair purple. I said, "Do it. You retired. Who gonna check you? Like what they gonna say?" Then here
Right.
comes my wild ass. I shave the sides of my head. I be putting designs all over my hair, color it all different. Child, I don't be caring. And
Period.
she just be like, Irene, I need you to just calm down sometimes. I'm,
You,
I'm your wildest
you.
dream.
I was just gonna say, you are the version of her that wants to do exactly what you're doing, that she is afraid that she cannot, and being you is breaking a generational curse. It
A
is.
hundred percent. We actually have recently had a conversation about that because I was like, girl, you is why are you so stressed about you retired? Just child, I be trying to get her to do all types of crazy. I said, girl, we gonna go get tattoos one day. She said it's gonna be small. I said, fine, but we getting tattoos.
That's so cute. We
So
can't we can't change them. Like we just gotta let them be them, and we be us. If we can just be ourselves, then we are expressing the parts of them that they will probably never be able to express, and that's
a
okay.
hundred percent, a hundred
That's
percent.
okay.
All right. Well, tell the people all about your agency and where they can find you. I definitely have your information linked in the description, but go ahead and let the people know all the good information and tea
Of
so they can know what to
course.
be looking for.
So you will be hearing more about the Polymatch Agency as we are going on a podcast tour and a press tour to get the word out. But the Polymatch Agency is the first agency of its kind within the matchmaking industry, serving polyamorous people of all genders and all sexual orientations and couplings. And I created this agency because it's not easy dating as a polyamorous person. And I'm not just a matchmaker, I'm also a dating coach. So if someone is new to polyamory and they're looking for the perfect poly match so that they can live out this dynamic in a healthy way, then I'm also teaching them how to date to be successful. Because
Mm,
just sending people out on dates as a matchmaker isn't going to get me the success rate that I want to see. I have to make sure that they are successful in actually dating and creating a connection, because compatibility is my job. I find people that they're compatible with on paper, but chemistry is up to them. And the only way they're going to develop chemistry or even see if it's there naturally is to know how to date, know how to have conversations, know the right things to ask, but also just like feel comfortable in the process of getting to know a person. Sometimes we're
Hmm.
so fixated on like the end goal of like, oh, I want to be married or I want to be in a long term partnership or whatever, that we forget that the first step is getting to know people.
Mm.
So my website is actually live, matchmakingagency.com. And I have to point my second domain to that, which is Polymatch Agency, because it's shorter, which will also take you there. That will probably be linked up next week. But the website also has a database of
Mm.
terms. So if you just want to go there and you want to start educating yourself on the terms, they are all there. And my blog will be launching within the next 2 weeks. So you'll be able to go there and get some free advice. You can also follow us on Instagram, content dropping next week. It's Polymatch Agency on Instagram. And I will be launching a YouTube channel as well. It's already created. I'm just waiting to drop content. So I'm going to start a podcast to talk more about this. I'm also going to be creating a series of shows. Um,
Nice.
oh, I'm not playing, like, because
Period.
one thing about Tayomi, y'all gotta know, is that I'm a trailblazer. Like, I
That she is.
step into places that have not yet had my stamp on it, or haven't had a lot of people like me or that look like me in it.
Hmm.
And it's not easy work breaking ground and shoveling the ground out in front of you to create a path. But I'm an innovator and I have vision. And I'm already seeing where this is going with polyamory. And it's going to get to the point where it's going to be 50-50 in this society. 50% of people are going to be living open lifestyles, and the other 50% are going to be monogamous. And it's just going to be the way of the world at large
Hmm.
at some point in time. So I want to be ahead of it. I want to be one of the pioneers in this space, especially in the dating realm. So you're going to see a lot more coming for the agency, and also events happening around the country, because people are starved for polyamorous events, not play
Hmm.
parties, polyamorous events where poly people can literally meet up, catch a vibe, build community within their cities, and like start to love on each other and start to commune and have support, because it
Right.
we need support in this game. Like,
Right.
it's not easy living this lifestyle, but we live it because it is fulfilling.
Right.
And we don't see ourselves living any other way. So follow us on all the things. And I also do coaching, relationship coaching, or opening coaching. So if you're a person that's like on the fence and you're like, I think I might be into this, but I don't know, you can go to my website, you can book a session. And when you go on the site, there is a pop up that gives you a discount code for your first session. So
More discounts.
listen, we love a discount.
And
So
don't y'all be out there acting funny. Y'all know it's tax season. Some of y'all done got y'all refund check. Go on, schedule your stuff, okay?
exactly. Don't be shy. I am very personable. And the thing about me is that I'm not gonna judge you. Like, you see me and Irene
Yeah.
sitting up here and we have like differing views on relationship dynamic. And I'm not judging her because she says she's possessive. That's how she is. And it's not my place to try to talk her out of that, to try to talk her out of being who she is. She knows who she is, and I can still love her exactly as she is. So just know, yes, I love you. Um, just know, like, you come into session with me, you're gonna be in a safe space to express yourself exactly as you are. I'm going to embrace you where you are, and I'm going to help you reach your goals, whatever they are, within polyamory and open love. So polymatchmakingagency.com, check us out. And
And
excited
I'll
to work with you in the future.
yes, and I'll make sure everything is linked in the description box for anyone who is watching the replay, or if you're currently still watching us live. And then, of course, y'all know if I'm on the platform, you can find me as Irene, the Passion Queen. I'm working on being a lot more diligent in my posting. I swear to God, I'm getting better, y'all. Just bear with your girl. Bear
I
with your girl,
understand.
okay? You know what I'm
I,
saying?
I understand.
But make sure y'all get your copy of Vacation, The Purple Dungeon, and the Sexual Awakening Journal. Of course, make sure you go download Worshipper. Uh, because if y'all want to hear more tracks from your girl, I'm gonna need y'all to go ahead and download it. Let me know that y'all really want to hear this stuff. And yeah, thank y'all again for checking out this episode. Y'all know we will definitely find the time for Tyomi to come back and give us more information. It is always informative and it's so much fun when she's on the show. I absolutely love you and I appreciate you every time that you stop through. So yeah, thank y'all so much and I'll talk to y'all later.